And I'm lost in a daydream.
Ooh, baby, what a day for interleague play. The last time these two tangled at the Monster, the Red Sox were just a shot away from their long-awaited championship. But then it was Armageddon. However, today it's more or less a party.
My kind of town, Chicago is. My kind of town, Chicago is.
And all along the warehouse, the word is Mike Messina is on the mend and looking to get the Birds back to contend. The NL's best braves it out in a Baltimore battle. It's a story of the Big Cat and the Birdie. Gotcha. 54 years ago today, they battled in D-Day. Now they do it the honorable way with interleague play. The one and only Fox Saturday Baseball is next.
Steve, you know this. Chicago's definitely my kind of town. And after yesterday's 12-inning thriller, Chicago belongs to the Cubbies. They beat the White Sox yesterday at the friendly confines, and they're partying today at Wrigley Field. Last night in Baltimore, the National League's best team got smoked by the Orioles again. Baltimore beat the Braves 3-2. The Orioles have beaten Atlanta now 4 consecutive times with another matchup today right here on Fox. Hi again, everybody. I'm Chip Carey, joined by Steve Psycho Lyons. Boy, oh boy, great to have interleague play back again, Psycho, and many thought the Orioles were dead in the water. They're 15.5 games back, but now maybe a little momentum as they get their ace, Mike Messina, back on the mound today against Atlanta.
Moose goes today, and this might be a team that played like the Yankees did in '96, kind of just hung in there for a while and then got better, gelled at the end of the year. But I'll tell you what, we're in early June right now, and we have playoff atmosphere all over the place. Guys on the top steps last night for the Oriole game in Chicago. They're in first place. I don't know what that's all about. You own that city right now.
I don't know about owning it, but we got to thank the big broadcaster in the sky for all the help he's given to the Cubs. And speaking of comebacks, how about Mark McGwire? Didn't take him long to return to his chase of Roger Maris's all-time home run record for one season. Mark McGwire, first inning in St. Louis against Oral Hershiser. Just a little chip shot to straightaway center in Busch Stadium.
Well, you know he didn't get all of that one because they could find it.
Yeah. 2-0. That made the score. McGwire is 28. Cardinals, they'll lose again to San Francisco. Oh, Hershiser red hot. They win it 3-2. Texas and San Diego resuming hostilities in interleague play. How about Juan Gonzalez, Steve? This guy may be the best player nobody knows about, leading all of baseball, 76 RBIs already.
He'll have more than 100 before the All-Star break.
An amazing story is Juan Gonzalez. Amazing story as well as we get you caught up on news around the major leagues. Big suspensions handed out last night. Angels manager Terry Collins, Royals manager Tony Muser, both winners on the interleague front, but they found out they'll be missing some games down the road. That's because of the bean brawls in Kansas City the other night. The fights began when Angels catcher Phil Nevin was hit for the second time in the game and ended with a sucker punch from Royals reserve infielder Felix Martinez. AL president Gene Budig was at the game, came down hard on each manager, suspending them for 8 games apiece. Budig blamed each manager for a lack of leadership, which he says caused the fights to escalate. Besides the managers, a total of 9 players suspended, 22 games, fined $7,500 pending appeals. Suspensions begin June 12th. Steve, we've seen a couple of these ugly brawls. It's been a part of baseball for a long time. Maybe it's time to put them to an end.
Well, that's exactly the point. It is a part of the game. It's not a good part of the game, but it's never going to go away. And you know what? Let's just be honest with ourselves. We love fighting in sports. That's the way it is. We go to a hockey game, we want to see a 5-4 score and 2 fights. We go to auto racing, we don't want to watch them run around and run around. We want to see a crash. We hope no one gets hurt, but we want to see a crash. Football, the violence. We love that stuff. You're never going to stop it. You can slow it down. 2 ways to slow it down. Number 1, in baseball, have a rule where it's like the third man in hockey. If you hit me, I come to get you. If your third baseman comes in to help, he gets a 5-game suspension. Anyone comes off the bench or out of the bullpen, they're all suspended. Me and you will go at it. That might slow it down. Plus, don't show me the replay a million times. If you stop seeing it, maybe those guys will stop doing it.
The existence of the DH a big problem, too. There's no accountability by the pitcher. He can throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He doesn't have to face one with a bat in his hand.
Oh, here we go. You want me to charge the mound right now? We're going to go with that
I would
DH
love it
again.
because I know if you took a swing, you'd miss.
DH in the American League, we love it. No DH in the National League. It's painful to watch those pitchers, but the fact is it's been around for 25 years. Don't get rid of it right now. It's one of the best arguments in baseball. We love to talk about DH, no DH.
Here's a story I hope goes away. Will somebody please sign J.D. Drew and get this mess over with?
Oh, man, now that St. Louis drafts him, he should have signed last year with the Phillies. They offered him $6.5 million over 4 years. What's wrong with that? Scott Boras is the agent. The guy's always a belligerent agent, leading him down down the wrong path. This guy has not played for 21 years of his life to go play in the Northern League again.
Amazing the Gaul trying to compare his situation to Orlando Hernandez, who saved his life by coming over from Cuba.
Orlando Hernandez hopped on a man-made raft tied together by twine to try to end up in Florida. He deserves what he gets. J.D. Drew's talking about going to Costa Rica. Let him go.
Maybe we need a worldwide draft to take care of situations like that. Well, Hernandez making headlines, and the Mets are trying to stay on the New York headlines on the back page. Yesterday, they made another big move involving another former Dodger Rookie of the Year. They picked up Hideo Nomo, reunited him with his former Dodger battery mate Mike Piazza, who is day-to-day after being hit by a Pedro Martinez pitch last night. More from New York and Joe Buck.
All right, Chip, thank you very much. It's Interleague Baseball. It's back on Fox, and today at historic Fenway Park, a rematch of the '86 World Series, the New York Mets and the Boston Red Sox. Hello, everybody. Joe Buck along with my partner, Tim McCarver. And, Tim, the Mets have been stealing the back page, so to speak, with their recent acquisitions. Piazza first, and now Hideo Nomo giving that sermon on the dugout here yesterday for the press.
As a matter of fact, the Mets have experienced 2 tornadoes the last week. One that touched down about a mile from Three Rivers Stadium when they were playing on Tuesday night. The other one touched down at 3:34 p.m. yesterday at Logan Airport. Hideo Nomo, the tornado. Only 2-7 on the year, but remember, this guy was a Rookie of the Year only 4 years ago.
Well, Mets fans and baseball fans wondering what happened to Mike Piazza last night in the first inning facing Pedro Martinez. Hit on the left hand. He went to the hospital. X-rays negative. He is day-to-day, but that's not a good sight for all you Mets fans out there. That's the story here at Fenway. Back to Hollywood. Chip and Steve, it's all yours.
Joe and Tim, thank you very much. Of course, Nomo, a former Rookie of the Year, and that man might be your model this year. Kerry Wood of the Chicago Cubs, what a story he has been for the Chicago North Side Ball Club. I sat down with Kerry Wood and talked about his toast of the town status in Chicago. Did you ever expect, coming out of high school, that all of a sudden I'm going to be pitching in the major leagues, and in my 5th start I'm going to strike out 20 guys?
No. You know, everything was working that day. I had confidence in it. I knew I had 3 after the first inning, and that's a good way to start.
Strike 3 call. He punched out the order in the first.
You know, pretty much after that, I lost count.
Got him. Making 5 in a row. He strikes out the side again. What can you say? 18 strikeouts.
They run out of Ks, though, man. What's new? We got to have a Kerry Wood K promotion.
They don't, you know, who would think to bring 20? Who would think to bring 20?
Here comes the hook.
I remember after the game, you came over to the dugout. You were talking to us on the air.
I'm out of words. I don't have anything to say.
I noticed your hands were shaking, and I asked you the question: what made you more nervous, going for the record or doing the interview?
No, the interview, no question.
Well, it was one of those days that's in the record books, and I'm sure your folks were watching.
You know, I got over there and my hand was shaking. I saw it later on. My hand was shaking, and I was just, I guess I was overwhelmed and kind of exciting.
Has set a major league record for strikeouts.
He called just, you know, to congratulate me and said he was real excited for me and, you know, keep up the good work. And my phone call to me was you know, something I'll never forget.
Where's the 34 come from?
Well, you know, I watched Nolan Ryan growing up, and one of the numbers that was left when I got called up, so they gave it to me, and, you know, I'm going to wear it, and I'm going to wear it with pride.
Well, I think anytime a player thinks enough of you that they want to wear your number, that it's indeed an honor. I think that he's in a real good situation with the Cubs and the fact that they're very competitive this year. I think it's going to be an exciting year for him.
Here comes the 2-2. Got him! He's got the record!
You know, seeing him for the first time, I didn't know what to expect. And this guy actually blew me away in the first at bat.
When he gets the ball over the plate, he can be devastating. And yes, he has the capability of throwing a no-hitter and striking out 15 to 18 men every time he goes to the mound.
You know, at 20 years old, I don't know if there's anybody right now with a brighter future than this guy. He's heads up.
Fastball belted down the right field line. It's a grand slam.
You had good stuff in the pen warming up, didn't you?
Oh, I had great stuff. Best stuff I've ever had going into a game.
Didn't you say to the guys, won't be needing y'all tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never said anything like that before. I don't know. I don't know. I'll never do it again, though.
Get that one on camera? I love that cage.
Are you having the time of your life, though?
Exactly. Oh, you can't imagine.
They're paying us to do this. Can you believe it? They're paying us.
We should be paying them to be out here playing.
Don't say that too loud.
No, I didn't say that.
All right, Chip, great job on that. You know him. He's a good kid. He's got a great arm. But you have the Ryan Express. You have the Rocket. Even I have a nickname. He needs one.
I like just plain Kerry. Nothing wrong with that. All right, folks, the Stanley Cup Finals matchup is set. Chris Osgood, boy, he was tough in the net. Sergei Fedorov with a game-winning goal. Red Wings beat Dallas 2-0. So it's the Washington Capitals, a Cinderella story against the champion Red Wings. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals starts Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. It's time now to head out to the park that Psycho built, Fenway Park in Boston, as the Mets and Red Sox battle in a rematch of the '86 World Series. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver are standing by in Beantown.
Step right up, interleague play, the best rivalry in sports, Mets and Red Sox. It doesn't get any better than this. Program scorebook, today's game, $1, folks.
$1, one McCarver coming at you. Interleague baseball on Fox as today the New York Mets travel to take on the Boston Red Sox and remind us all of the World Series of 1986. We're inside that big green thing in the press box. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver with you, and we're glad to have you with us for the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week. Well, Tim, we've got two teams that have legitimate shots at postseason in 1998, and the way they're doing it, the age-old way, they're doing it with pitching.
And different types of pitching staffs, too. As a matter of fact, the New York Mets with a pitching staff that almost nobody knows. As a matter of fact, the most familiar pitcher on their staff is a guy who hasn't pitched for them yet, Hideo Nomo. Bobby Jones is starting in this afternoon's game. Al Leiter won last night. Rick Reed has been a stalwart, and Masato Yoshi will be joined now by Nomo, fellow Japanese pitcher. They are awesome this year. As you look at the #1 spots that they occupy, their starters, only the Atlanta Braves starters, predictably better than the Mets.
So you've got the Mets staff, they're winning, and they've just reeled off a nice 9-game winning streak. They won last night after losing 3. They beat the Boston Red Sox, who had Pedro Martinez, their best on the mound. But really, the Red Sox have another pitching staff. Not a lot of guys may know outside of Pedro Martinez, but it's a good group.
Even though Martinez didn't win last night, he's a starter that is the Red Sox stopper. They have a stopper in Tom Gordon. That's the finisher, and that's the reason they're about 11 games better off this year than they were last year at this time. They're only 9.5 games behind the Yankees. Still plenty of baseball left.
We're going to watch that knuckleball of Tim Wakefield dance around Fenway Park here today. It'll look very much like that. He'll take on Bobby Jones and the Mets. First pitch coming up after this word from your local Interleague Fox station.
A season of champions only on Fox Sports.
It's Ford Customer Appreciation Time for original owners of most Ford and GM cars and trucks and Chrysler minivan owners. What does it mean? Extra cash back, lots of it. Take Windstar. We're currently offering $1,500 cash back, but eligible buyers get a bonus of $1,000 more for a total of $2,500 cash on the only minivan to win 5 stars in government crash tests. See your upstate Ford dealer. Find out what customer appreciation really means. More cash back. Lots more.
Can happen out of the blue.
Fitting in, schmitting in. The new RAV4. It's not for everyone, only you.
One dog. Hey, Jerry. I got a parrot that sounds just like Pavarotti. You want to hear him? Yeah.
Jerry Springer, coming June 29th to Fox 23.
I love you, Jerry! I love you!
I'm really sorry.
I was in the pool!
Welcome to Fenway Park. They've been playing baseball here since 1912. The Boston Red Sox take the field led there by their right-hander, knuckleballer Tim Wakefield. And we'll give you a look at the New York Mets starting lineup brought to you by MCI. They'll lead it off with Brian McRae in center, Bernie Gilkey batting second in left field with John Olerud, longtime American leaguer at first base, batting third. Butch Husky in right field with Baerga batting in the fifth spot. Edgardo Alfonso at third. The DH is Matt Franco. Ray Ordonez at short. And Alberto Castillo is the catcher for the Mets, with the injured Mike Piazza day-to-day with a bad left hand. The Red Sox defense, Garciaparra leading all shortstops in 1997 with total chances, putouts, double plays. He was the unanimous Rookie of the Year a year ago. He's been slowed by a sore right shoulder, but he's back in the lineup for the Red Sox and playing behind knuckleballing right-hander Tim Wakefield.
Tim Wakefield with a knuckleball, and a rare true knuckler in that he throws it all the time. Deadly when he gets ahead because hitters become too defensive and have a tendency to swing at it out of the strike zone. The danger area, says Dick Pohl, the bullpen coach of the Red Sox, from the mid-thigh to the belly button. Above the belly button, knuckleballers move, and below the mid-thighs, they move. But he'll throw about 95% knucklers, even if he's behind in the count.
Started out red hot, 6-0. He's slowed of late, 6-2 on the year. He'll give you innings, though. He's a knuckleballer that is not your typical knuckleballer in one sense. He works quickly. He's a young guy and a good athlete.
Matter of fact, he signed with the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 1988 as a first baseman, a power-hitting first baseman. And he changed to a knuckleballer in '89.
McRae is quickly in the hole 0-2. We remind you, as always, the broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Brian McRae is quickly in the hole, 0-2, with Gilkey and Olerud to follow. Easy for the second baseman, Benjamin. And the leadoff man is gone. McRae hitting .232, grounds out. Talk about Wakefield, 31 years old. In knuckleball pitching years, that's about like he's 10. What do they pitch till they're 60, 70?
60, 70.
I mean, you got guys like Wilhelm and Huff and Necro and Candiotti's getting up there, and I hope he's listening somehow out in Oakland. Gilkey takes a strike. Bernard Gilkey hitting .289. He's picked things up since jumping into that #2 spot in the Mets lineup in front of Mike Piazza. Of course, Piazza not in there today. And as it was with McRae, it's 0-2 on Gilkey.
5 straight strikes thrown by Tim Wakefield.
Not all that well hit into center for Darren Lewis. He's a good one to patrol all that area in center field here at Fenway. 2 up, 2 down.
You notice 6 straight strikes on a 0-2 count. There's no reason to set a hitter up. You just throw the knuckleball. When in doubt, throw the knuckleball. And normally we have hit zones for hitters, and today we decided just to chuck them because there's no sense in saying whether a guy's a low ball hitter or a high ball hitter, because all the squares are gray. It's a gray area.
Who knows?
Gray's anatomy.
Who knows? There's another strike. It's to Olerud. It's always fun to talk to guys who played this game and ask them their theories and their approach when facing a knuckleball pitcher.
Well, I have one.
Olerud into left field. O'Leary is there. A 1-2-3 perfect first inning for Wakefield. We'll hear the theory later.
Yep.
After a half inning. No score.
I talk to my mom every Sunday. Nothing big, just to stay close. Tell her what the kids are up to. And that's why I signed up for MCI 5-cent Sundays. It's just 5 cents a minute, so we can talk for half an hour for just $1.50. That same call was $4.50 with AT&T's One Rate. We save more with MCI. And best of all... Hi, Grandma.
We all get to talk more.
Call 1-800-Sundays to become an MCI customer.
We both love nuggets.
And I'll always love that about you.
Because they're tender and juicy.
Thing is,
You're sweet and sour, and I'm honey mustard.
So we're breaking up?
Sorry.
Don't look at me. I'm barbecue.
And speaking of Wendy's all-white meat, crispy chicken nuggets, if you had 99 cents, what would you buy? A gallon of gas? A new air freshener? How about Wendy's chicken nuggets? Bite for bite, the best bet in chicken.
That's the one I'd pick. Gary Sheffield, outstanding bat speed. Pull the ball with the best of them.
The secret to MLB 99's realism? Scouting reports straight from the pros.
Favorite cheese, Gouda.
Cool. Gouda. Well, what's his favorite cracker?
Girls settle.
PlayStation.
Get ready to get creative. Get into a Rebel G. Go beyond snapshots. Experience the ultimate rush.
Cool.
Rebel G and only EOS lenses from Canon.
Packed house here at Fenway Park in Boston, getting ready for the bottom of the first inning as Bobby Jones and the Mets head to work on the field. And here's the MCI starting lineup for the Boston Red Sox as they head to work and take on the right-hander. Darren Lewis will lead off in center field. Batting second is the DH. Not a big power DH. Reggie Jefferson, then Garcia Parra. Mo Vaughn hit 2 home runs here last night against the Mets. Troy O'Leary in left field with Valentin at third. Hatteberg is the catcher. Benjamin at second. And batting ninth, the right fielder, Darren Bragg. The defense for the Mets, good pitching. Pretty good defense for New York, and it's anchored by their shortstop. Gold Glove Award winner Ray Ordonez at short. As you see, the fielding percentage of .983, leading the National League a year ago, and Bobby Jones happy to have a guy like Ordonez playing behind him.
Bobby Jones, tutored by Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach, and Bob Apodaca, a very smart guy, one of the best around, having his pitchers pitch right-handed hitters inside the first time through the lineup, like that.
Ball one misses inside to Darren Lewis.
And the reason for that is that a lot of guys come into this ballpark, and because of the Green Monster, they're afraid to work inside.
How many times do you hear pitchers who get into trouble, whether it's at Coors Field in Denver or it's Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out, start worrying about the elements or the ballpark or the dimensions of the ballpark? Forget it. You can't pitch like that. You got to stay aggressive. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's aggressive, up and in, and the count 1-2. Home plate umpire is Terry Kraft here this afternoon as you look at the numbers for Lewis, with Al Clark, who worked the plate last night at third, Jim Joyce at second, and at first Jim McKeon. Ball and 2 strikes on Lewis, and that's into left field for a leadoff hit. Darren Lewis has been hitting to go along with that great fielding, and he adds to his .297 average.
Talked about Bobby Jones. That was that looping curveball that he throws. The only ball that Darren Lewis is apt to pull. He's very clever. He's not. He doesn't have overpowering stuff. Command, change of speed. But that looping curveball was the one that Lewis hit. And he'll establish inside early, as we said. He came inside a couple of times, but gave in to Lewis with that hanging curveball.
Bobby Jones has been giving up a lot of first-inning runs lately, and he allows the leadoff man to reach. An 0-2 pitch to him, and he hung one to Darren Lewis.
That looping curve that we were talking about, now that is a major league hanger right there.
So a leadoff hit by Lewis. Reggie Jefferson, the DH, at the plate. Big swing by Reggie. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jefferson, not your typical DH. He's not a big power guy. He's hit 5 home runs. But he is a guy who can swing the bat wherever he's been. He's put up big averages, and he's hitting .310 here in 1998.
Well over 300 for the Red Sox the last 2 years.
Jones keeping an eye on Darren Lewis. Not blazing speed for Lewis. He's stolen 8, been caught 5 times. To the right side, Baerga can't get there. Lewis will go station to station, 2 on, nobody out.
With 1 out, I think Lewis goes to third base, or attempts to go to third base, on the throwing arm of Butch Husky. Reggie Jefferson using that hole on the right side and pulls that ball right by the outstretched glove of Carlos Baerga.
So back-to-back hits. Lewis went first to second on the hit by Jefferson. Boy, do the Red Sox love this. They get their first two on, and now they have Garciaparra hitting in the number 3 spot. Perfect opportunity for Nomar to put the Red Sox on top here in the first. Inside again, missing, ball 1. Garciaparra hitting .284. Last year hit 30 home runs and was the unanimous pick for Rookie of the Year in the American League. There's a strike, 1-1.
Garciaparra ritualistic, and fans in New England have become accustomed to the dancing feet of Garciaparra, like Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fred wore rubber spikes, though, and
yes, he did.
Nomar is a metal spike guy. The outfield hits by directions for Nomar Garciaparra. What's that? The new sound effects. You got a quarter? I want to hear that again.
Sounds of the game.
Garciaparra has pulled more hits to left than going the opposite way or up the middle. That's to the left side. Alfonso steps and throws, and a big double play turned for the Mets. Mets turned 4 double plays here last night, and here in the first inning they get another. 2 for the price of 1. The old wholesaler.
Now see, Bobby Jones went back to pitching inside. He hung the curveball to Lewis. He got the ball out over the plate to inside with a fastball. Then he goes away. And then the slider is fouled off. And watch this pitch. Inside, grounded to Alfonso, who easily turns the double play.
So now a runner at second, 2 out. And that great scoring chance comes down to Mo Vaughn. With Jefferson at second, 2 down, and Vaughn at the plate. He's driven in 43. 9th best total in the American League, and hitting .324. He hit 2 home runs here last night, 1 off the tough left-hander Al Leiter. A strike from Jones.
Again, Bob Apodaca, he said the one thing we have to get away with Mo Vaughn is challenging him. No more macho stuff with Mo. We tried him with 2 fastballs last night. He hammered those. First pitch from Jones, a curveball.
I think Mark McGwire relies on pitchers trying to put a notch on their belt. Say, oh, I struck McGwire out.
Yeah.
Why bother? Why try? 1 ball, 1 strike. Unless you're in a situation where you have to pitch to a guy or behind in the count, why do a guy a favor and give him something to hammer?
That's correct, because all pitchers at one time or another have that attitude of he's not going to get me.
There's a long list.
It sure is.
Runner at second, 2 out. Vaughn takes a strike. That one over the inside part. Strike 2. It's funny to hear a guy like Apodaca tell his pitcher to stay inside. How many guys forget that? Forget that part of their arsenal. Keep it out over the plate. In this park, you can hurt your neck turning to watch the ball fly. That'll fly to center. Easy for McRae. And after putting the first 2 on, the Red Sox hit into a double play. Vaughn flies to center, and after 1, interleague style, Mets and Red Sox, no score.
Great. That tune-up.
These AC Delco parts are about the most dependable you can buy. They should really help improve your performance.
Come on, they're all the same. I'll take some out of this bushel basket.
Okay.
AC Delco. No matter what you drive, if you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
One day, science will create a pill for men's hair loss. That day is today. Introducing Propecia, the first pill for men with certain types of hair loss. In clinical studies, the vast majority of men, 83%, maintained their hair count, and most, 66%, regrew some hair. You may need to take it daily for 3 months or more to see results. Propecia is for men only. A small number of men experience certain sexual side effects. Each occurred in less than 2% of men. Women who are or may potentially be pregnant must not use it or handle broken tablets because of the risk of a specific kind of birth defect. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist and read the consumer information they can provide. To men who want to treat their hair loss, this could be the most exciting commercial they've seen in years. Propecia, helping make hair loss history.
There have been only 7 Wheaties champions this century. Better make that 8. Introducing Tiger Woods, a new generation of Wheaties champion.
Today,
In the Atlantic Fleet.
on board USS Enterprise, character was forged. Valor was commended.
Minds were
We're
enlightened.
enlightened.
Lessons were learned. Fears were
Fears were conquered.
Worlds were discovered.
Honor was defined.
Courage was found.
Commitment
Was sealed.
Today on board USS Enterprise.
Over 5,000
journeys began anew.
What did you do?
What did you do today?
Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
Homer joins a religious cult.
You think you might have been brainwashed?
If that didn't kill the girl, kill the girl.
The Simpsons, Sunday on Fox.
Back for the second inning here in Boston with absolutely no score. The Red Sox got 2 hits in their half of the first inning, and Butch Husky leads off for the Mets. A .246 hitter with Baerga and Alfonso to follow. And that's the first pitch out of the strike zone delivered by Wakefield. All right, we've been waiting long enough.
Okay.
What was your theory on facing a knuckleball pitcher?
The best theory that I ever heard, that I adopted, was told to me by Duke Snyder. Duke Snyder used to catch Gil Hodges' knuckleball. Duke told me that Hodges had the best knuckleball in the National League. Those were in the days of Dutch Leonard and other knuckleballers. And Duke learned that by catching a knuckleball, if you had to wait till the last possible minute with flexible arms to catch it.
Husky shoots one to deep center. Darren Lewis going to get it on the track. 1 out.
If that's true, and believe me, that is true, you have to wait till the last minute to catch the ball because you don't want stiff arms. If that's true, what you do as a hitter, you wait until the last possible minute to hit the knuckleball. You cannot wait too long to hit that flutter. When Tim Wakefield gets into trouble, he gets top heavy with the knuckleball. The ball starts spiraling and rolling on its way to the plate. It hadn't done that yet. But when he runs into trouble, that's how he gets into trouble.
4 faced, 4 retired for Wakefield, and here's Baerga. Carlos has picked it up. He takes a strike.
You can even notice, Joe, how Scott Hatteberg, the catcher, is catching the ball back close to his body. Because you wait till the last minute and allow the knuckleball to really come to you more than, say, the standard pitches of fastball, slider, curve, pitches of that nature.
He's got that enormous glove working today as Baerga doesn't get much of it. Grounds into Benjamin. And that's 5 in a row retired by Wakefield to start this game. There's Mike Piazza. Saw him before the game getting a little whirlpool action, a hot whirlpool on that left hand. Was hit by a pitch in the first inning last night by Pedro Martinez. X-rays were negative, but right now not able to play, and might be a couple more days before he's back in that lineup for New York.
There's a story floating around the clubhouse, the Mets clubhouse this morning, saying that Piazza went to Children's Hospital and before the X-ray was signing autographs for all the kids over there. And the nursing station, the nurses at the nursing station called Piazza at the hotel after the game was over to thank him for being so kind. Now this was before, you know, not to be too schmaltzy about the thing, but this was actually before Piazza had been X-rayed without knowing whether the thing's broken or not.
Last night in the first inning, facing that hard-throwing right-hander Martinez. That one ran up and in. Pedro talking about it in the papers today, saying he kind of leaned into that pitch. Into left field for the first hit of the day for the Mets. It belongs to Alfonso. Pedro Martinez, who used to be a teammate of Mike Piazza's in Los Angeles, said we were acquaintances, not great friends. I used to hang out with my brother, so there's no love lost between the two. And there's the wrap that he has on that left hand.
Plus,
and Martinez, a guy, Tim, that'll drive a guy off the plate.
Absolutely. Got that reputation in the National League and carrying it over to the American League. I mean, after all, before that at bat last night, Piazza had 3 career home runs against Pedro.
1 on, 2 out. A chant of "Let's go Mets" starts to escape from this crowd here at Fenway Park, and those here rooting for the Boston Red Sox either are saying Mookie or are booing those Met fans that are putting together that chant.
Before last night's game, the last time these two teams met in this ballpark, Game 5 of the 1986 World Series, won by the Red Sox.
The last postseason victory for the Red Sox. They have been shut out in series since.
We talked about Garciaparra dancing with his feet. Wakefield does that with his pitches.
Check on the runner at first. The Red Sox have lost 13 consecutive postseason games dating back to Game 5 of the 1986 World Series. 95 lost 3 and out to Cleveland. In 90 they lost 4 and out to Oakland, and in 88 they did the same. Franco just does stay alive. Still 0-2. Ordonez on deck.
I think what you're seeing here with Matt Franco, the batter, Matt's a good hitter, but the Mets usually use him primarily as a spot starter. And as a guy who comes off the bench, I think that's where the American League really gains a major advantage, playing a National League team in an American League park with the designated hitter.
And a smaller side note to that is you see a lot of National League clubs now carrying 11 pitchers. That's almost the norm now, as opposed to carrying 10 with an extra bench player. It saps your bench a little bit by putting Franco out there. Only 4 reserves today for the Mets, one of them being the injured Piazza. Franco's the first strikeout victim for Wakefield. The Mets leave a man, and after an inning and a half in Boston, no score.
The new zero-pressure Michelin. So revolutionary it won't go flat, even with the puncture the size of a golf ball, letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
Insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
Some guys have all the luck. Some guys have all the things. Some guys get all the grace. Some guys
play Pepsi Pop Culture. Just drink Pepsi or Mountain Dew. Match winning phrases and win tons of cool prizes. From cash to trips. Even a new Jeep Wrangler. Pepsi Pop Culture. Drink, match, win.
Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week. Brought to you by MCI 5-cent Sundays. Pay the least on the day you call the most. By Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide. By AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it. And by Propecia. Talk to your doctor today.
Bobby Jones heads back to work for the New York Mets. Last inning, he got into and out of trouble. Here's what the hitting coach for the Red Sox, Jim Rice, talked about with Reggie Jefferson.
I'm going to throw the changeup hard and throw the slider.
Yeah, see, it's not a good one. His slider's almost like a slow cutter. It don't go down at all. That's just cut.
I think he threw Mo 2 changeups. 2 balls he took.
And Moose was Mo Vaughn when Mo popped up on the slow curveball, a shallow center to end the first inning. Reggie Jefferson saying that the slider from Bobby Jones almost like a slow cutter. And as we said earlier, Bobby Jones is not a particularly hard throwing pitcher, but relies on location to get guys out and change the speeds.
Bottom of the second, no score. O'Leary, Valentin, and Hatteberg will Step to the plate for the Red Sox. This is O'Leary. And that's a strike from Jones. Bobby Jones hit the outside corner. For the most part, first pitch in the first inning was inside on hitters. Back inside, strike 2. Bobby Jones 3-0 in his last 5 starts for the Mets, who have been on a roll with one exception, that 3-game series at Three Rivers in Pittsburgh.
Before that, they had won 9 in a row, and then losing 3 to Pittsburgh, and they won last night in the opening of this 3-game series.
To the left side, Ordonez off his leg and into left. O'Leary had thoughts of rounding the bag and heading for second. He will hold. He is at first with nobody out. Right now for a game break. Back to Chip in the Fox Television Center.
Thanks, Joe and Tim. A chilly day in Boston. Warm day in Baltimore. And the ball really flying. First start back for Mike Mussina after taking that shot up the middle, and Javier Lopez just hit a 2-run homer to make it 4-0 Braves in the first. Atlanta's lost 4 straight to the Orioles. Back to you in Beantown.
All right, Chip, thank you very much. That was ruled a hit off the bat of O'Leary and off the leg of Ordonez. Red Sox put their first 2 on in the first. Double play hurt their chances. Now Valentin chops one foul for strike 1.
Normally a Gold Glove shortstop like Ordonez sucks this ball up. That's that patented slide. He didn't have the glove down, however. One thing that's very interesting about Bobby Valentin's infield defense, with left-handed batters up, he plays most of the time his shortstop's almost behind second base. Oh, Bobby got burned on that one. He doesn't often, and he's right in thinking that most left-handers hit the ground ball up the middle as opposed to the other way.
1 ball, 1 strike on Valentin, who was hit 6, hitting .244, and as he looks down at Wendell Kim, the third base coach, he relays the signs to both Valentin and O'Leary, the runner at first, who draws a throw. Troy doesn't run. He has yet to attempt a stolen base in 1998. Breaking ball inside, ball 2. As Chip Carey mentioned, it is a cool day, a windy day here in Boston. Started out the morning, the sun shining brightly, and now the clouds have rolled in overhead. Will they put on the hit and run on 2-1? Yes. Runner goes, and Valentin fouls it for strike 2.
It used to be that the Red Sox would play a more of a base-to-base, station-to-station style of baseball here, but Jimmy Williams had a stint with Bobby Cox in the Atlanta Braves. He was the third base coach for Bobby in Atlanta for about 8 years since leaving Toronto back in the American League, and like Joe Torre did, bringing that running style to the Red Sox.
Pretty well hit down the right field line. Trouble if it's fair, but slicing foul. Just foul and nearly a home run.
Butch Husky is almost waving home run and trying to say the ball's in the stands. Did you see that right hand go up? That's usually the wave of the umpire down the right field line. John Valentin taking a poke at Pesky's pole down in right field. That's what they call the right field foul pole. Watch Husky after that ball goes. Looks like he's waving home run.
It does. I think he's signaling foul, and it was foul by inches.
It was.
So Husky helping out first base umpire Jim McKeon, who saw it all the way, and it was foul, but not by much. 2-2 to Valentin on the infield for Baerga. 1 on, 1 out. And back to first O'Leary. Talked about it in the opening, Tim, but it's worth talking about again. You could win a lot of bets from people, even avid baseball fans, asking them who the #1 pitching staff is in the big leagues ERA wise, and the answer, the New York Mets. They've got guys. Bob Apodaca must be doing a terrific job.
Outstanding pitching coach.
Because they've got a lot of guys that don't blow you away, but just seem to pitch smart, know how to pitch. One on the mound today, and Bobby Jones. Masato Yoshi's been outstanding.
He will pitch tomorrow for the Mets against Steve Avery of the Red Sox.
And what a bounce back for Leiter. He's got that great control this year, better than in years past, and when he gets the ball over the plate, he's nearly unhittable.
Opponents' batting averages paltry facing those four. And their fifth guy now is Hideo Nomo. The guy with the best stuff on the staff was Dave Malicki, and he was traded to the Dodgers. Just not productive enough. Dave 1-4 on the year, and Hideo Nomo running into similar problems. He was 2-7. But the thing that the Mets are thinking, at least Hideo Nomo had a good track record. Not so with Malicki.
That's strike 2 on Hatteberg, as Bobby Jones again tries to get around a leadoff hit. I'd take a chance on Nomo. How can you not?
Absolutely. Rookie of the year 4 years ago. Earned run average below 2. Now his earned run average has progressed about a run with each year. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hatteberg set up at 0-2. Just a little up and in, 1-2.
Particularly when the catcher to whom he will be pitching is Mike Piazza and his best friend Masato Yoshi, when they played together before Nomo came to the United States.
Hatteberg to the second baseman Baerga. They'll just flip for the 4-shot, 4-6. O'Leary did the wise thing, didn't run into a double play. And the 4-shot makes it 1-on-2 out for Benjamin.
And particularly on a slow roller, you can see O'Leary stopping. Baerga looks at him, realizing he has only one play in the flip to Ordonez.
So O'Leary is erased. He had a leadoff hit to start this inning. Now a man on, 2 out. And Mike Benjamin getting some playing time at second base with the return of Garciaparra. Filled in very well for the injured Nomar. Strike 1. This guy's a valuable guy to have on your ball club. He was for years with San Francisco.
Can play second, can play short, can play third.
Something off speed, and Benjamin out in front. Strike 2.
That's a very difficult adjustment too when you're used to playing the left side of the infield and learning the footwork on the right side of the infield. Benjamin credits Wendell Kim with helping him with his footwork around second base.
Now they're together again in Boston.
Yep.
1 on, 2 out. Ball 1. What are you laughing at?
Well, I'm just laughing.
It's a nice story.
You have just a poignant way of putting some things.
It's a nice story. They're together in San Francisco, and now they're here together in Boston. 1 and 2.
San Francisco's sister city, you might say, right? Boston.
In a way.
Yeah.
Back to Jones. Reaches for it. Inning over. And for the second inning in a row, Bobby Jones gets around a leadoff hit. Back for the third after a word from your local Fox station.
You're watching Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week.
What is it? An SUV? A luxury sedan? Like nothing you've ever seen. Yes. The new 1999 RX 300. Like no other vehicle or value on Earth. That new country Lexus of Latham.
Welcome to Taco Bell. Can I take your order?
Let's see. 1,000 burrito supremes, 700 Mexican pizzas, and what of those new gorditas? Hey, Godzilla,
Want something to drink?
Godzilla's at Taco Bell on 4 collector cups. And now you can put them in a cool Godzilla cup holder. Get them while supplies last.
And why is Gendron's the undisputed truck leader of the Capital Region? W Series trucks from $399 a month. That's one reason. Small business owners, this offer is for you. These medium-duty trucks are perfect to haul cargo, pull trailers, carry equipment, and move people. And only Gendron's brings them to you as low as $399 a month. But hurry, only a limited number are available. Gendron's, 2702 6th Avenue, Troy.
Gendron, leader of the pack.
A metal monster driven by evil. And only one woman can stop it. Joanna Cassidy, Wheels of Terror.
Today at 4 on Fox 23.
Takes a ball. Ordonez, a .242 hitter, followed by Castillo, and then back to the top, Brian McRae. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ordonez has hit a little better. His average at .242. He's driven in 16. Not a bad total. Last year was predominantly all glove, no hit.
Batting only .216 last year after a .260 average a year before.
That's well hit into left center field. Darren Lewis over to get it. Could search long and hard and not come up with a better guy to play center field here at Fenway than Darren Lewis. He plays in front of that green monster. And as our facts tell us, not part of the original park, but built in stages. And that green monster, which before 1947 was covered in, how do you say that word? Advertisements or advertisements?
Either way.
That has been the source for many a headache for many a left fielder and center fielder playing here at Fenway Park.
It's covered with dents right now.
Covered with dents. There's one dent that got over that wall.
That's right. Bucky in 1978.
Into center field. Another one for Darren Lewis. Castillo, who homered here last night, flies to deep center, taken care of by Darren. 2 up, 2 down here in the 3rd inning for New York. There's some of those dents in that wall. Very nice.
Thank you.
And in a memorable piece, 1978, Bucky Dent in that 1-game playoff with the winning home run, as it turned out, for the New York Yankees. Boston Red Sox had blown a 14-game lead. Had to win their last 8, I believe, to force that 1-game playoff, and then that heartbreaker. And Bucky Dent, of all people.
Mike Torres was the pitcher, and they'll never forget that in New England. Carl Yastrzemski made the last out, a pop-up to Greg Nettles off Goose Gossage.
McRae pops it up into shallow left center off Tim Wakefield into the waiting glove of Nomar Garciaparra. A little more electric music as we go to the bottom of the 3rd here in Boston. No score.
Long after the fans and players have gone home, the 4 billion TV watchers have switched off, and all the others have taken their billboards down. One company will still be there, pushing to make a ball that goes even faster, shoes that make players even more powerful. Because to us, each World Cup is a signpost, not a destination.
Do you like legs? Well, here's an attractive set. All you can eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster for only $13.99. Bottomless buckets of meaty, succulent snow crab legs. All you can eat at a price you can't resist. So shake a leg. And hurry in for all you can eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster, because life on land is dry.
Were you born without a soul?
Excuse me?
You don't know how to love, do you?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about this.
It's just an oil filter.
Just an oil filter? Look, nothing stops more dirt than America's #1 brand of oil filter, Fram. Now get out of here.
How do you live with yourself?
Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later.
I guess I didn't know. 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 I guess I didn't know.
It's game one of the Stanley Cup Finals as the Capitals battle the defending champion Red Wings. Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Bottom of the third inning here in Boston. Bobby Jones back to the mound. Jones so far has pitched around 3 hits. Got around 2 hits in the first inning. A big double play ball off the bat of Garciaparra helped. Leadoff hit by O'Leary in the second, but he got Valentin, Hatteberg, and Benjamin. And the number 9 hitter Darren Bragg will lead off with Lewis and Jefferson to follow. Ball 1 from Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones last year was an all-star in the National League. Did not have a good second half of the season. Won 10 games in his first 12 starts. And ended up winning just 15. So that ought to give you an indication of what kind of second half Bobby Jones had.
Matter of fact, Bobby Jones reached double figures in wins last year faster than any other Mets pitcher. And that's saying something when you consider Jerry Kuzman, Tom Seaver, all the great pitchers they've had.
For the second baseman, Baerga, 1 away. Bragg is retired to start the third inning. One of the excuses, and it's more than an excuse, one of the parts to the season last year for Bobby Jones, a bad back. And when you got a bad back and you have to pitch and follow through, that's not a good combination. There's Darren Lewis, who singled and involved in the double play his first time up.
Hitting the curveball the first time up, $1 to a donut. He does not hit a fastball to left field. They'll go back to the heater and hard slider. Matter of fact, Darren Lewis is tied with Derek Jeter in opposite field hits in the American League. Not a big bet, I know that, $1 to a donut, but it's acceptable.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's fun, though.
Yeah.
2 balls, no strikes. Sure, some people in San Francisco and with the Chicago White Sox look at the average of Darren Lewis, which is now at 301, saying, come on, what do I get? A donut into left center field, and Gilkey pulls it in the gap. Hard hit. Gilkey, a pretty nice running grab, 2 out.
Take your pick, $1 or a donut. That was a fastball that he ripped to left center field. I mean, he hammers this ball.
I'll take a bear claw.
Donuts are about $1 a piece now.
That's right. So Gilkey, a nice grab that took a double away, maybe more with the speed of Lewis. With all that area out in left center field. And here's Reggie Jefferson. And there's strike 1. Every time a team comes into a city for the first time, the outfielders all go out, or for the most part, most of the outfielders go out and have one of the coaches hit them fly balls and ground balls in the outfield of that visiting ballpark you're visiting. And there's no better place or more important place to come out early and take fly balls and ground balls in here at Fenway.
As a matter of fact, not only the outfielders came out, but Cookie Rojas, the infield instructor, having Ordonez out before the game last night. And Ordonez right now is almost behind second base. We talked about it earlier when O'Leary had that infield hit. Ordonez stations himself almost directly behind second base. I mean, this is really shading the other way, but that's how they play most left-handed batters.
1-2 on Jefferson. 2-2.
It's as important for the shortstop to go toward left field on a ball down the line and the second baseman to go down the right field line in this park as it is for outfield.
That's down the right field line, but right at John Olrud. And the first 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon for Bobby Jones. We go to the fourth in a blink. It's interleague baseball, and it's flying by. No score.
Gary Sheffield, outstanding bat speed. Pull the ball with the best of them.
The secret to MLB 99's realism? Scouting reports straight from the pros.
Favorite cheese Gouda. Bobby Bonilla, weakness for fastballs in the dirt. Has a dog named Snacks.
Oh, that's impressive.
I knew that. You drive a 71 Nova, make $22,000 a year, and you were a bedwetter.
Hey, better.
PlayStation.
Mark, if you're at the airport before my 8 o'clock flight, maybe we can talk. Otherwise, it's over.
Ah! Come on. Oh, start. Oh, no! That battery!
No matter what my customers drive, they depend on AC Delco batteries. They last up to 30% longer.
I'm sure they do. Just give me the generic equivalent, okay?
AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
I can't believe I can get this close with an electric shaver.
This is smooth. We're introducing men to the power of 3. The new Remington Microscreen 3.
It's so fast.
It gives you 3 things no other shaver can. The most powerful motor of all leading brands, 150 precision cutting edges, and 3 flexing microscreens. Guaranteed to get you incredibly close, incredibly fast. The power of 3. Only with the new Remington Microscreen 3. Built to shave incredibly close.
You disappear.
For a few hours, you become a yelling, screaming, thrill-seeking, horse-loving, king-crazy pirate man. Go, baby, go!
Fire like this!
They're trapped at the center of the earth.
I'm gonna die friendless and alone like Weird Al Yankovic.
On King of the Hill, Sunday at 8:30, 7:30 Central.
Tim Wakefield back to the mound to pitch here in the fourth inning. He will work to Bernard Gilkey, John Olerud, Butch Husky. Usually get a pretty good early indication as to how a knuckleballer is going to fare on the afternoon, and the early returns on Tim Wakefield are good for the Red Sox.
That's a very good point, because usually if a knuckleballer struggles early, he struggles late. If he's effective early, he's effective for 6 or 7 innings.
Yeah, it's not like he gets tired.
No, right. How can you get tired? It's like getting tired shaking hands.
0-2 in a blink, and a ball to Gilkey. Little pop up behind second for Benjamin. He'll give way to Lewis. 1 up, 1 down, and Gilkey is 0 for 2. That'll bring in Olerud. Darren Lewis has been busy out there. That's already his 4th putout. Make it his 5th putout. The first 10 outs picked up by Tim Wakefield. 1 out, nobody on, and Olerud hits it hard and right through Mo Vaughn. Olerud is on, and Vaughn olayed that ball a little bit as it got on him in a hurry and went right through him.
You'd have a lot of guys olaying that ball. That ball, a low tracer, one hopping and skipping right by Mo, who there's so much said about his hitting, not enough said about his fielding. He moves around very well at first base. I think Olerud should get a hit on that ball, but it's an error on Mo Vaughn.
I already marked down a hit.
Yeah, I did too. I thought that ball was just usually on balls hit like that, you get base hits on it.
Now Husky, strike 1. 1 on, 1 out. There's that "Let's Go Mets" chant again here at Fenway.
No competition between the city of Boston and the city of New York, is there?
No.
Come on.
There's an article written in the paper yesterday about what a thrill it would be if the Red Sox and Yankees met in the American League postseason. Then the Boston Red Sox were victorious, only to meet the New York Mets in the World Series.
Yeah.
They could exercise a lot of demons with 2 wins there. Husky gets into one to left field. O'Leary and Lewis back. Darren Lewis pulls it in. That's his 6th putout of the afternoon. So Husky tried out that area in left center field, just didn't get enough, and now with 1 on 2 out, the batter will be Baerga.
Baseball, a game of records, of course. The record for putouts by a center fielder in the major leagues in a 9-inning game is 12. Darren Lewis is halfway.
Could be a record-setting day on Fox.
Could be.
Baerga, switch hitting second baseman, bounced out to second his first time up. Strike from Wakefield.
Mo Vaughn playing behind John Olerud. John stealing his 4th base in 10 years as a major leaguer just this last week. Going to play behind anybody, it's to play behind John Olerud. He is not a fast runner.
And with a left-handed batter at the plate, so many times you see teams unnecessarily holding on runners who have no chance or desire to steal. Strike 2 on Baerga. I've never seen, and I haven't been around this game as long as you have, but a knuckleballer like Wakefield with as much control yet still as hard to hit as Wakefield has been here at the start. He's been right around the plate, but nobody can really get a good swing.
Coming into today's game, Joe Kerrigan, the pitching coach, told me that 72% of Wakefield's knuckleballs have been strikes this year, and 64% of first pitch strikes.
It'll pop up to the left side. They're not hitting it very hard, and the Mets strand their 2nd of the afternoon. We move to the bottom of the 4th. Mo Vaughn will bat 2nd in the inning. Still no score.
Insuring over 40 million people worldwide. For 75 years, Warner Brothers has brought you the faces you'll never forget and the moments you'll always remember.
Well, happy anniversary.
To celebrate, we've created the 75th Anniversary Video Collection.
Yeah, happy 75th, Warner Brothers.
For every reason you love great movies.
Here's to 75 glorious years, Warner Brothers.
Now is the time to make them yours.
I've got mine.
Warner Brothers 75th Anniversary Video Collection.
Here's looking at 75 years, kid.
So come to Wendy's for a 99-cent junior bacon.
Man, that cheeseburger looks good. I love bacon. You fly, I'll buy. No, you go to Wendy's and I'll buy. Plus, I'll throw in Biggie fries. Yeah, well, I'll throw in Biggie fries and Biggie drinks.
When the craving hits for a Wendy's hot and juicy 99-cent junior bacon cheeseburger with 2 strips of bacon, you'll do anything to get one.
Junior bacon cheeseburgers, Biggie fries, Biggie drinks, and gas for your car. I don't have a car. Well, I'll buy you one.
Hey, for a car, I'll go.
Dave?
Greetings. Having heard us describe the problems with our old communications programs, the MCI team is prepared to demonstrate solutions. On this afternoon's dance card, multi-point video conferencing that lets you meet with far-flung clients and colleagues without ever leaving your desk. The MCI team even devised a way for me to participate. The silver screen.
How far will Mulder go to save Scully?
I'm offering you a chance to know the truth.
In exchange for what? Come work for me. The X-Files, Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.
Historic Fenway Park that opened in 1912, April 20th, 1912. Boston defeated the New York Highlanders 7-6 in 11 innings. Highlanders would later become the Yankees, and it was actually Boston that opened Yankee Stadium, taking on New York. So talk about a rivalry that goes back a few years. 1912, these two clubs opening up each other's ballparks. When I say these two, I'm talking about the other New York team, the Yankees and the Red Sox. It's the Mets, and there is no score in the bottom of the 4th inning. That manually operated scoreboard out in left, that hurt off the left foot of Garciaparra. It'll be strike one, but Nomar's in a little pain. Might not be dancing that little soft shoe he normally gives us his next time up.
Maybe no more Simeon Glover. Bring in the fun, bring in the noise, and that's what Garciaparra did last year. This ball hammered off his left foot. Remember, he was on the disabled list. He came off the list last Friday against the New York Yankees 8 days ago. He appears to be all right. Usually, slam a ball off your foot, it's always painful and rarely serious. Occasionally, you get a broken toe or something.
Matt Williams had a tough time with one a couple of years back.
Yeah.
All with the Giants. 2 balls and a strike. They're staying inside on Garciaparra. Alfonso takes care of it. 1 up, 1 down here in the 4th inning. Talk about 1912. Talk about April 20th opening this ballpark. Here's the headline from April 21st. Thrice warned. That's about the Titanic sinking back in 1912. And then over on the side, they talk about the opening of Fenway Park and the win over New York, seen by 24,000. So the headlines, which was actually what, about a week after the actual sinking?
About 6 days, right? The sinking
Still the headlines here in Boston.
Sinking took place on April 15th at 2:20 a.m. Red Sox have not won a World Series since 1918, 80 years ago.
So about a week after Leonardo DiCaprio was freezing in the North Atlantic, they opened up historic Fenway Park.
Well, the Titanic almost rubbing the opening of Fenway off the front page, and now the Red Sox are trying to wipe Titanic off the front page.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Leonardo and company.
You can't do that to Leo. A little low, 2 balls and a strike on Mo Vaughn, who flied to center his first time up. Red Sox have stranded 2. Mets have left 2. There's no score in the bottom of the 4th. Mo Vaughn and his resume. 95 American League Most Valuable Player. Bottom line on that resume might be looking for work for 1999.
Oh, he'll find it.
Oh, there's no doubt. And the Red Sox still saying they want Mo Vaughn here. Mo still saying he wants to be here, yet nothing has been worked out long term. That pitch barely missed.
Going outside with a curveball and coming back inside. If Bobby Jones doesn't get that pitch, he's not going to win. He has to have that corner fastball. Curve outside and back inside with the fastball. It was not low, and Jones wanted it.
And now on 3-2, Mo Vaughn will take a walk. First handed out by Bobby Jones this afternoon. Last night, Mo Vaughn wasn't taking walks. He was taking trots, 2 of them, around the infield here at Fenway Park. He gets out lighter in the 4th inning. Wham. What a beautiful swing. Just so powerful. And then later getting Hudek in the 9th inning to account for the 2 Boston runs.
Home runs all over the place last night. As a matter of fact, the Mets with 4 home runs and 4 double plays turned. The first time they have had those combinations in their history. 5,656 games to have 4 home runs and 4 double plays in the same game.
The research you do is amazing.
All I did was read the Elias notes.
To the right side, Olrud down to second, 1. Back to first, 2. Double play. 3-6-3. Olrud started it. It was Ordonez in the middle. We head to the 5th here in Boston. No score.
They're at the top of the lane of the Derby, and Real Quiet gets the lead. Real Quiet wins the Kentucky Derby. Real Quiet to the front, and he's pulling away. Real Quiet, the Derby winner, gets the Preakness.
If you want to see Derby and Preakness winner Real Quiet try for the first Triple Crown in 20 years, bring your Visa card. Because you won't get past the gate at the Belmont Stakes using American Express. Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown Challenge.
Max doing?
He's doing okay. So how long before Max can play again?
Well, the vet said Max will be back to his old self in a couple of days.
Even the interior of the Chevy Blazer was designed to give you peace of mind. Chevy Blazer, a little security in an insecure world.
You know what it takes to be an all-star? Hitting, fielding, base running. All-Star Baseball 99 lives up to its name. The only baseball game on N64 with high-res graphics, real-life player faces, and batting stances. And the only 4-player baseball game on N64. Wrap your rumble pack around that. All-Star Baseball 99. Looks like we've got ourselves a new MVP. Acclaim Sports. Sweat the details.
The new zero-pressure Michelin. So revolutionary it won't go flat, even with the puncture the size of a golf ball, letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
For all the latest news and best highlights,
It's a 3-home-run night for Big Mac.
tune into Fox Sports News. Weeknights, check local listings.
I have unknowingly provided a hint for the Aflac trivia question today. If you were paying attention earlier, you should know the answer. What team has the longest consecutive losing streak in postseason history? There's a strike to Alfonso. Edgardo singled his first time with 2 out. And he has the only New York hit. Down the right field line, slicing foul. Strike 2. Just one strike after another from Tim Wakefield.
Yeah, oddly, of the 12 outs recorded so far, there have only been 2 balls hit on the ground. Both have been grounded to second base, so Wakefield's knuckleball is dancing upstairs. Coming into this game, right-handed batters hitting only 178 against Tim Wakefield. That's the lowest in the American League.
Up and in to Alfonso.
Alfonso's a hitter similar to Derek Jeter of the Yankees and to Darren Lewis, in that he hits a lot of balls the other way, particularly with 2 strikes.
This one to short for Garciaparra. Leadoff man is gone, and that's the way we start the 5th inning. Our Aflac trivia question: which team holds the longest consecutive losing streak during the postseason? And our answer?
Well, I can't answer it, though.
Why not?
Because you've already given it to us.
The Boston Red Sox.
I remembered
13
it.
straight.
Yeah.
And Game 5, 1986 World Series, the last postseason victory. And there it is. There it is.
And
1918.
and Joe, what's World Series the Red Sox have played? They took the Cardinals to 7 games in 1946. The famous Pesky couldn't unload on the Harry Walker double.
Pop up off the bat of Franco. And Mo Vaughn puts it away. 2 up, 2 down.
Enos Slaughter scoring the winning run in the ball game. And then in 1967, the Red Sox bought too much Bob Gibson that year. Gibson winning 3 games in the 67 series. And then in 1975, the Cincinnati Reds, one of the most dramatic World Series ever played, the Carlton Fisk home run. American League champions that year. And then in 1986, were it not for that quirky ball staying down and going through Bill Buckner's legs, it's the Red Sox and not the Mets who win the World Series.
You could see that coming, couldn't you? Off the end of the bat, off the bat of Ordonez. That had more spin on it than anything Wakefield's thrown up to the plate. And it took a bounce and got back behind Benjamin, who overran it a bit.
Folks familiar with spin the bottle when you were a kid? Well, this is spin the baseball. Squirt, squirt.
So Ordonez is on, and we will wait for the ruling. It's an error, the second of the day for the Red Sox. E4. And Benjamin went to where he thought it would be. It took a hop and it went back where he was.
That ball was almost as much of a knuckleball going at Benjamin as it was when Ordonez hit it off the end of the bat. I think the Mets ought to try to steal against Wakefield. And not having any success hitting and a knuckleball pitcher, he's very difficult for a catcher to find the grip in that big mitt. That's one of the more difficult things, is to throw and get a good grip on the ball once you make the catch behind the plate.
Tough to find the ball, period.
Yeah.
Little down and in from Wakefield as that one hops out of the glove of Hatteberg for ball one.
Little chance of a pitch out right here. When you're facing an unorthodox guy like Tim Wakefield, even if you don't have good speed, you ought to try to run and steal. We'll see what Ordonez does.
2-0 now on Castillo, so the odds increased that the Mets would start the runner. Now I'm guessing he's going right here. Dollars to donuts. Give you your Bear Claw back.
Double or nothing, huh?
Yes. Not going. I owe you a Long John and a Bear Claw.
Well, that was a fastball, the first fastball of the day by Wakefield, and now he'll go back to the knuckleball. He's not the type of guy who'll throw fastballs behind in the count. And that's because he has such success throwing the knuckleball for a strike.
Looked like Ordonez was going there. He took a step and came back as Wakefield gave him a look.
Timeout, man.
Castillo asking for time at the plate. Granted time by Terry Kraft. That's batting in the top of the 5th inning with no score. And Wakefield keeping a close eye on Ordonez, who, by the way, is 3 out of 8 in stolen base attempts. Now 3-1. Now you would think they'd start the runner again.
I think they've been too tentative. I think if you're Ordonez, you've got it. And Bobby Valentine, I think you have to send the runner before it gets to 3-1. Possibly Bobby is thinking that if Castillo makes the last out, then you have the top of the lineup up starting in the 6th.
Runner's still not going, and the ground ball to short to force out at second. That doesn't make any sense. No. But as the Mets play station to station, the force out to end the inning. They've left 3. Halfway through it, no score.
As the pilot flies through the night sky, the helmsman steers a course that is true. The landing signal officer checks the approach. The weather crew keeps an eye on the storm. The air traffic controller directs every move. The air boss orders a clear deck. The captain gives the final word. And the plane safely lands on board USS Enterprise. In the Navy, no journey is ever made alone. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
Legs? Well, here's an attractive set. All you can eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster for only $13.99. That's what I want. Legs. Bottomless buckets of meaty, succulent snow crab legs. All you can eat at a price you can't resist. So shake a leg and hurry in for all you can eat snow crab legs at Red Lobster, because life on land is dry.
Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, brought to you by the U.S. Navy. Navy, let the journey begin. By Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation because so much is riding on your tires. By Gap. And by Red Lobster. Come in and see for yourself why life on land is dry at Red Lobster.
Welcome back to Fenway Park. Bottom of the 5th inning, still no score. There's Hideo Nomo and Masato Yoshida side by side in that Mets dugout, the best of friends in Japan and now together with the New York Mets. Interesting that Bobby Valentine wouldn't run in the last half inning, because you've got a guy at the plate that's not a power guy in Alberto Castillo, a guy at first who at least has some speed in Ordonez. The count 3-1. There's not going to be a pitch out, and you would figure that the pitch Castillo would get to hit would be the fastball. If it's the knuckleball, you're going to steal the base anyway. And he got the knuckleball and he hit it off the end of the bat to break the bat. But I agree with you, and I think he should have stolen before the count was 3-1. Bottom of the 5th inning, Valentin down the right field line, trouble if it's fair, but foul again. He nearly curled one around that right field pole, Pesky's pole, his last time up. He eventually popped up, and now he's behind on the count 0-1. I think it's a valid point that what Bobby may have been thinking is that if Castillo makes the last out, at least you have the top of the order coming up in the 6th inning. But the Mets haven't been hitting Wakefield. As we've talked about earlier, there's no way he's going to tire. I think you have to pick a knuckleball and try to run on it. Strike 2 poured in from Bobby Jones, 0-2. Well hit into left field, curling down the line, foul. You know, they call that right field pole Pesky's pole. Middle infielder with the Red Sox in the 40s and 50s, yet he hit just 17 home runs in 10 years. Pesky's still with the organization. That's back over the plate. Castillo set up outside. It came back over the heart, and Valentin is the first strikeout victim for Bobby Jones. Let's take a look at the pitch sequence to John Valentin. Bobby Jones made Valentin so aware of that inside part after the curve, the fastball in. He wraps one foul, and now outside with a heater to get it. Becomes so conscious of that ball inside, that pitch on the outside part doesn't have to be in a perfect location. One out, nobody on for Hatteberg, the catcher, who bounced into a force out his first time. Missing inside with ball 1. Scott's hit 5 home runs. The way these two pitchers are going, it's not going to take much offensively to win this game. 2-0 now from Bobby Jones. I have never been an advocate of an open stance. There are an awful lot of hitters that are successful in baseball. Andres Galarraga comes to mind, but you can see that open stance of Scott Hatteberg. He has to do so much. Bobby Jones just started to stretch out on the mound instead of wind up. Then he stopped himself. You have to do so much with that front side in order to be successful. That drilled the outside corner, 2-1. You can see that situation. Hatteberg was open facing Bobby Jones with that foot more toward first base. You have to close the front side in order to hit effectively. That step right there. And the ground ball to second. Baerga waits for it. 2 out. A strikeout, a ground out. Nothing shaking for the Red Sox here in the 5th. Give you a look at our game summary brought to you by B.F. Goodrich. Tim Wakefield has been dominant on the mound for Boston. Red Sox had a chance in the first, had a chance later. They're 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position so far. The Mets have turned 6 double plays in this series. 4 last night, 2 this afternoon. Ball 1 to Benjamin. That's the story here today, with Wakefield on your right, Bobby Jones on your left. 1 ball, 1 strike. Benjamin bounced back to the pitcher. With a man on to end the second, his first time up. Good one. On 2-1, Benjamin Not able to pull the trigger on that pitch. Now a 2-2 count. Just missing outside. Castillo evidently didn't understand the umpire. Home plate umpire Terry Kraft calling it ball 3, and Castillo headed off the field.
Bobby Valley, it's very difficult from the dugout to tell whether the ball's inside or outside. You can tell height, but not location inside or outside.
Now the second walk handed out by Bobby Jones.
I thought that 2-2 pitch to Mo Vaughn was a strike. However, I thought that 2-2 pitch to Benjamin was outside. I thought Castillo was looking for one there. A lot of times if you as a catcher hold the mitt there, even if it's off the plate just a tad and the pitcher hits it, you'll get that call, but not then.
Well, I'm not so sure that Castillo was doing that trying to escape with a strikeout. I think he may have misunderstood the umpire.
Could have, because it was delayed in an awkward fashion, wasn't it?
He was holding the pitch there, and you could hear Terry Kraft say something. Castillo headed off, and then the two had a little conversation. Bobby Valentine chipped in from the dugout. A 2-out walk, and now the number 9 hitter Darren Bragg looks at ball 1. Bragg 0 for 1. He bounced to second, back in the third. Throw behind the runner, and Castillo nearly threw it into right field. Saved by Olerud.
Skate save and a beauty by Olerud. Baerga backing up. So usually a guy like Castillo loves to throw. He has an excellent arm. Can afford a throw like that because your second baseman's playing the left-hander to pull, and he's going to be behind the first baseman anyway.
Are you a fan of that throw behind the runner at first?
Well, I am with an arm like Castillo. Yes, I am.
1 ball, 1 strike. The outside part for strike 2.
Saw the success Javi Lopez had against the Cleveland Indians in the 8th inning of that 1-0 game. David Justice hitting the home run. Game 6 of the World Series back in '95. A key pickoff at first base.
Got Manny Ramirez.
Right.
1 on, 2 out, a ball and 2 strikes on Bragg. Little high. Aaron Bragg has been pretty good with runners on base. He has a man on here. All 4 of his home runs come with somebody on. There goes the runner, and he'll have to come back. Benjamin will return on the foul ball. Bragg has to return to get a new bat.
I guess you could argue this point all day long. I do not think 2-2 with 2 outs is a good running situation, and the reason I don't is that if the pitch is a ball, the runner at first is compelled to run anyway. I know you disagree with this particular thing. In the last inning with the knuckleball, I don't think 3-1 with 2 outs is a good running count. I know a lot of managers do that, and the reason is the same. I think that's a similar situation. 3-1, an offensive count for the hitter, and by sending the runner, you're compelling the hitter to hit the strike that he doesn't want to hit.
I've seen that more and more this year with Mark McGwire of the Cardinals. He's had Delano DeShields on in front of him quite a bit this year, and DeShields continues to run even in those 3-1 situations.
That's odd.
And Mark wouldn't say it, but it seems to me like it bothers him a little bit. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now 3-2. The runner wasn't going on that pitch. They'll play behind Benjamin. Benjamin will get a head start, and Bragg waits for a 3-2 pitch. Runner goes. The strikeout, the second of the inning and the afternoon for Bobby Jones. After 5 in Boston. Good one. No score.
One day, science will create a pill for men's hair loss. That day is today. Introducing Propecia, the first pill for men with certain types of hair loss. In clinical studies, the vast majority of men, 83%, maintained their hair count, and most, 66%, regrew some hair. You may need to take it daily for 3 months or more to see results. Propecia is for men only. A small number of men experience certain sexual side effects. Each occurred in less than 2% of men. Women who are or may potentially be pregnant must not use it or handle broken tablets because of the risk of a specific kind of birth defect. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist and read the consumer information they can provide. It may look like just another pill, but for men who want to treat hair loss, it's a beautiful thing to behold. Propecia, helping make hair loss history.
There are many types of athlete's foot that eat your feet alive. Don't just cure some, kill them all. Lotramin AF. Full prescription strength medicine. The brand doctors recommend most. Lotramin AF. The killer cure.
If your car is sluggish, or you sometimes use a lower quality gasoline, pour a bottle of Techron Concentrate Fuel System Cleaner in your tank. Then fill it with gas. Get the performance you paid for with Techron Concentrate from Chevron.
Pedro Martinez. Kid's got nasty stuff. Best weapons is fastball.
The secret to MLB 99's realism? Scouting reports straight from the pros.
But you gotta remember, he's got a heck of a wild streak.
PlayStation.
Were you born without a soul?
Excuse me?
You don't know how to love, do you?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about this.
It's just an oil filter.
Just an oil filter? Look, nothing stops more dirt than America's #1 brand of oil filter, Fram. Now get out of here. How do you live with yourself?
Fram oil filters. Pay a little more now, or pay a lot later.
A millionaire con man.
Graham took $13 million from at least 130 victims.
Let's help the FBI take him down. America's Most Wanted, tonight at 9, 8 Central.
Sixth inning of a scoreless game. Top of the order will step to the plate for the Mets. McRae, Gilkey, Olerud, as these guys try to figure out how to hit Tim Wakefield. So far, only one New York hit. They've had a couple other base runners reach on errors. Olerud back in the fourth, and last inning, Ordonez on the error committed by Benjamin. But Wakefield has been in complete control so far. Ball one. McRae 0 for 2. Came into the action hitting .232. 2-0. Two and one. Is that the 2-0 knuckleball?
2-0 knuckleball. The only other 2-0 count. He threw the fastball to Alberto Castillo.
Another characteristic of many knuckleball pitchers is they take forever. But here's a guy who's been an infielder, and a lot of people describe Wakefield as a knuckleball pitcher who throws it like an infielder would want him to throw it quickly. There's the fastball. It misses. And a leadoff walk. First walk handed out by Wakefield this afternoon. Tuesday, it's game one of the Stanley Cup Finals as Peter Bondra and the Eastern champion Washington Capitals take on Sergei Fedorov and the Western champion Red Wings. The race for the Stanley Cup begins Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox.
In situations like this, Bernard Gilkey likes to drag bunt. I don't think that he'll do that against a knuckleballer. It's almost tougher to bunt than it is to hit a knuckleball.
Who do you like in that battle, by the way, Tuesday night? You like Washington with Ole the goalie, or Fedorov and the high-flying Red Wings trying to repeat?
Fedorov's my pick, baby.
It's tough to skate with all that money. Leadoff man is on for New York for the first time this afternoon. And now a ball to Gilkey. So for the first time, Wakefield hands out a free pass. And for the first time, the Mets get their leadoff man on, and now it's ball one on Gilkey. With one on, nobody out, Gilkey to foul ball. Perfect time to take you to John Rooney and Jeff Torborg for a Sammy Sosa bat at Wrigley. Let's listen in.
Bands, and I didn't like the pants down around the ankles, but I've gotten used to it. So I know why the guys like those. Those other flip down glasses are tough to use, you know.
Sammy Sosa is coming up against Scott Air. He has 8 home runs in his last 7 games. He had a home run here yesterday. Today he is fouled out and walked as the Cubs are leading the White Sox 4-2 in the bottom of the 5th. And Sosa with a big swing. It was an interesting development in extra innings yesterday where Jerry Manuel walked 2 to have to face Sosa, and Sosa made the last out where the Cubs could have won the ball game after a Brant Brown double.
Yeah, I was talking to Buck Showalter the other night. You remember he walked Barry Bonds last week with the bases loaded, forcing in a run. So when you have a little situation with a manager and they're playing the odds and their gut feeling, you go with it like that. You look for the hitter where you think you might be able to strike him out.
Sammy Sosa with a 1-1 count. That goes out of play. 3 runs in the 3rd inning for the Cubs after the White Sox scored 1 run in the top of the 3rd, and defense has let the White Sox down today. An error figured in the 3-run 3rd inning with 2 runs scoring on a Jeff Blauser single, and Jose Hernandez led off the 4th inning with his 6th home run of the year. And Mike Caruso was driven in both of the White Sox runs. That's a strike on the inside corner. Strikeout number 6 for Scott Air. 2 outs in the 5th.
All right, John and Jeff, thank you. Gilkey struck out after McRae drew the leadoff walk. It's 1 on 1 out for Olerud. And we await the first pitch to John after a throw over to first by Wakefield. So big strikeout for Wakefield to come back after the walk to McRae. Gilkey's 0 for 3. And McRae, who has stolen 10 bases, gets a little of the attention of Tim Wakefield.
And he tried to run with a count 1 ball and no strike to Bernard Gilkey on a hit and run. Again, a good time to put the runner in motion against the knuckleball.
I want to remind you at the end of today's game, Tim and I will select the Chevy Truck Player of the game. Who is going to break through here this afternoon at Fenway? No score in the 6th. One ball, 1 strike. You can see Olerud wait a little on that pitch. Fouled it off to the left side. 1-1.
Yeah, we talked about Duke Snider's theory on how to hit the knuckleball, and Snider hit it well. And John Olerud, nobody waits any better than Olerud. 5 for 14 against Wakefield when John was with Toronto. And he hit that ball hard his last time up.
Safe. Rather close at first. Here Jim McKeon call McRae safe.
You know, Joe, the one thing that all knuckleball pitchers have is a good pickoff move. They have to. You think of Phil Niekro, Hoyt Wilhelm had a good one. Bob Tiefenauer, a knuckleballer back in the minor leagues, pitched for the Yankees a few years.
Now the pitch out on 1-1. Nothing on for the Mets. It's 2-1. So often you see a team pitch out into a running situation. They weren't running on 1-1. But now after the pitch out on 2-1, the Mets might run.
You talk them into it. Plus you make the count favorable.
Not going, and now he's going on a delayed steal. Picks everybody off, and McRae gets his 11th of the year.
He not only picked Scott Hatteberg off, but he picked the middle infielders off. What happens when the pitch goes through to the hitter? The infielder will drop his head. Now watch Brian McRae. Hatteberg doesn't throw. The infielder, Nomar Garciaparra, late covering. Finally executed. Delayed steal by McRae.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Olerud. Now 3-2. There are only a handful of guys you see even work that delayed steal.
The Mets work it often, though. Part of their arsenal.
Three balls, 2 strikes on Olerud. Vaughn will make the play unassisted. Over to third is McRae, but 2 out with Husky coming up. Folks, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
This really puts a lot of pressure on a catcher of a knuckleball pitcher with a runner on at third and 2 outs. you have to call the knuckleball. Runner at third, you're looking for the wild pitch.
Husky goes after one. It was up, came up empty, strike one.
Matter of fact, the Red Sox leading the majors in pass balls this season with 11.
Now they've called a balk. A balk with McRae, who had started and stopped at third, and that will plate the first run of the day. A balk called by the home plate umpire Terry Kraft. Wakefield working out of the windup, started and stopped with McRae bouncing around over at third base, and it leads directly to a run.
Cookie Rojas, the third base coach, called it immediately. Once you're on the rubber and you start forward, you can't break your hands and you can't step off. Watch Wakefield. Normal speed. He went forward and then tried to step off.
Here's what Bobby Valentine said.
Oh, that's a balk! Yeah, it is!
That's one of the greatest reactions you'll ever see on a balk. Now, Jimmy Williams technically should be ejected from this game. In the rules, you cannot argue balls and strikes, and you cannot argue a balk.
I know you can't argue a balk on a step over. I don't think I've ever seen a manager argue a balk with a man on third. Most of the time they're so blatant, and they have to be blatant for umpires to call something like that, particularly in the middle innings of a tie ball game.
Now, technically, Jimmy Williams should be ejected from this game. What he did, he went out and talked to Terry Kraft, then made a trip out to the mound just to talk to Wakefield. Here's a look at it again. First balk of the year for Wakefield. And by starting and stopping, Jimmy Williams is going to have it out again with Terry Kraft at the plate. I can't believe he hasn't been ejected.
What happened was Brian McRae started home, and that's what Bobby Valentine tries to encourage his runners to do. Take fake breaks from third like that. And that's when Wakefield balked.
I know Jimmy Williams is upset and argued with both home plate umpire and Terry Kraft and Al Clark, but that's about as blatant a balk as you'll see.
Yep, it was.
I mean, it was not even close. Now Husky takes a ball and the count 1-1.
That's why a lot of pitchers prefer to work from the stretch with any kind of speed on at third base. But how Brian McRae created that balk, nobody else.
So he created a lot in this inning. A leadoff walk, a delayed steal of second, moved to third on the ground out by Olerud, and scored on a balk. That's about as cheap a run as you'll run across.
Yep.
And the only one so far on the day. Husky to the shortstop, Garciaparra. That'll end the inning, but not before the first run of the afternoon. A leadoff walk leads directly to a run. McRae scores, and the Mets lead by 1.
There have been only 7 Wheaties champions this century. Better make that 8. Introducing Tiger Woods, a new generation of Wheaties champion.
If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
Some guys have all the looks. Some guys get all the breaks. Some guys.
Play Pepsi Pop Culture. Just drink Pepsi or Mountain Dew. Match-winning phrases and win tons of cool prizes. From cash to trips, even a new Jeep Wrangler. Pepsi Pop Culture. Drink, match, win.
Hey, all these amazing prizes are just waiting to be won in Pepsi Pop Culture. So come on, play.
It's late, it's wet, and a flat tire puts you up against the wall. Wouldn't it be great if you could just drive to safety? Now you can with new Goodyear Aqua Steel Run Flat. Even with no air pressure, you can drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour to safety. Aqua Steel Run Flat. Only from Goodyear.
Goodyear, Goodyear. This show is cool. There are no rules on In the Zone. They act the fool, so come and learn to hit and throw from players with great skills. You know, you'll get it right. You'll reach new heights. They'll probably put your name in lights. Can't miss one show. You never know what baseball skills they will bestow. In the Zone. It's a rad show here on Fox. Hang up the phone and get fired up. This fully rocks. Big time baseball, that's what the zone is all about. Watch that pickle. So check it out and don't be late. It ain't no joke. The show is great.
In the Zone, Saturdays on Fox.
It was Cookie Rojas who encouraged Brian McRae to make the fake break from third base. And watch Rojas once McRae breaks. He knew it immediately.
Bobby Valentine again.
Now. Hey! Oh! That's a balk! Yeah, it is!
Once the hands of Tim Wakefield started up from the windup and he stopped, that's an easily detectable balk. And Bobby Valentine, you can hear him say now, which is interesting because McRae really timed his jump over at third to bother Wakefield.
Yeah, that's what you try to do.
Perfect time.
Well, you try to do that before the pitcher goes into his motion. When he just gets the sign, which is elementary as far as a knuckleball pitcher is concerned, but the way to combat that is work from the stretch, and you don't have that problem.
So now the top of the order for the Red Sox in the 6th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lewis. On the inside corner for strike 2. Two balls, 2 strikes on Lewis, who has a hit today. Got his average up over the 300 mark after that first inning single. He lined out to left in the 3rd. 82 pitches so far for Jones. That's 83, and that's ball 3. Jones trying to get the leadoff hitter. Lewis, a little flare down the right field line, is foul. It is a challenge for a guy like Husky, who is here at Fenway Park for the first time, to negotiate that right field line and that low wall out in right field.
Only 7 of the 25-man Mets roster has played or even seen Fenway Park, unless it's on television. Those are former American leaguers, of course, that are now on the Mets roster.
Full count on Lewis leading off. That's into right center for McRae. Leadoff man is gone. Darren Lewis 1 for 3. And the batter will be Jefferson. Next week on the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, American League rivals clash as the Indians battle the best in baseball, the New York Yankees. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern and Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Lewis hit it hard, but caught by McRae in center, and now Reggie Jefferson took a strike. Jefferson 1 out of 2 on the afternoon. How important is this number 2 spot in the Boston lineup in front of Garciaparra and Vaughn? Jefferson down the line. Olerud so good over there. 2 out. And with the bases empty, the batter will be Garciaparra.
It's always amazed me how a runner cannot be fast, but a fielder can be quick. There's a big difference in being quick with your first 2 steps, as Brooks Robinson was so many years. John Olerud is as a first baseman, not a fast runner, but very quick instincts, very quick reactions.
So with the bases empty, 2 out, the pride of Wayne Britton, vice president of scouting, walks to the plate and takes a strike. They were hoping, the Red Sox were, that somehow, some way, Garciaparra would slip to the number 12 pick out of Georgia Tech. When he was drafted by the Red Sox, he did. They did. And he's the Rookie of the Year, the reigning Rookie of the Year in the American League.
11 other organizations kicking themselves because they didn't see what Britton saw. Or if they did, they thought He would be available in a later first round or in perhaps the second round. By the way, the baseball draft was just held last Tuesday, as a matter of fact.
Red Sox came up with a shortstop out of the University of South Carolina, Adam Everett, into right center field, caught by Husky, and a 1-2-3 inning put together by Bobby Jones after his teammates got him a run. Still 1-0 New York.
For in-your-face coverage, log on to foxsports.com.
How would you like to drive a 98 Taurus just like mine for only $239 a month? That's the offer from your Upstate Ford dealer when you lease a 98 Taurus. $239 a month, 36 months, or 36,000 miles. And no security deposit. Just think, 3 years, low monthly payments of $239. You know where.
Upstate Ford dealers, we're driven to be the best.
Fitting in, schmitting in. The new RAV4. It's not for everyone, only you.
Hi, I'm Jim Palmer. The Money Store is so sure they have the best home loan under the sun, they guarantee it. It's the 90-day no-pay, the loan that lets you refinance your home, lower your monthly payments, and take a break from your mortgage for 3 months. That's right, lower payments and no mortgage for 3 months. If you find a better deal anywhere in America, we'll refund your money, guaranteed. Just call 1-800-LOAN-YES and take a break with the 90-day no-pay, only at the Money Store.
Jerry, my divorce caused my weight gain. I'm suffering from divorce fat. That's a show, Jerry.
Well, think about it.
Hey, Jerry, I had a sex change, had it reversed, then had it done again.
I'm sorry, we've already done that show.
Jerry, I was abducted by alien twins.
No more abduction shows.
Too bad. I had one of their babies. Jerry, what's up?
The Jerry Springer Show. It's a crazy world. Have fun with it.
Jerry Springer, coming June 29th to Fox 23.
My lover doesn't satisfy me.
Catch the Capital Region's early late news. Fox News at 10 tonight.
7th inning already here at Fenway Park. 1-0. The Mets out in front on that run that scored in the balk by Wakefield. He's back to the mound. It'll be Baerga, Alfonso, and Franco. And the floater stays up and away for ball 1. Hitting .303 is Baerga. Not anymore. The pop up to the right side, and Carlos 0 for 3 right now for a game break. Back to Chip Carey in the Fox Television Center.
Joe and Tim, wild game at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Cubs were leading 4-1, and then in the top of the 6th, the White Sox strike big time. Charlie O'Brien rips a shot into the bleachers, his 3rd home run of the year, and the White Sox leading 5-4, but the Cubs threatening themselves in the bottom of the 6th.
Does it surprise you, Tim, at how poorly the White Sox are playing? I mean, I know that their pitching staff leaves a lot to be desired, but when you have a 1-2 punch in your lineup like Albert Bell and Frank Thomas, you ought to win some games just by falling into it. They're 10 games under 500.
You also have Robin Ventura, who's back the whole year. Ray Durham, a fine second baseman. Got to get guys out. Everything is buoyed around the pitching staffs, and both the Red Sox and the Mets are proving that this year. Red Sox 11 games better off than they were a year ago. You got to get them out. That's why every organization, to be successful, starts with pitching.
Wakefield got him out. He took care of that hopper back through the box off the bat of Alfonso. 2 gone.
Capacity here at Fenway Park about 33,800. And Teddy Ballgame hit a ball so far years ago 502 feet. That seat has been painted in Williams' honor, and now somebody's sitting in it. How do you like that?
502 feet. I read the story about that. Yeah. It was a sunny day, and the gentleman was out there in a straw hat, and he couldn't find the ball, so he ducked down. The ball actually landed in the straw hat.
Hit him in the coconut?
In the coconut. Little pop-up to the left side, and we've seen a lot of this afternoon. Garciaparra takes care of the final out off the bat of Matt Franco. Time to stretch. Red Sox bat down by 1.
Let me tell you something about heroes. They ain't like you and me. Look at Griffey. The way he taps the spikes and grows the tee, punches the glove and flips the lid, signs the hat, eats the dirt, and twirls the lumber, warms it up and works the crowd. The way he holds the pose, slams the wall, anticipates, and always thanks his mother. Let me tell you about guys like him. They ain't just playing stick.
This is Major League Baseball featuring Ken Griffey Jr. with Reality Bat for infinite swings. It's only on N64, only on Nintendo Sports.
Select road. Validating tires.